so honored and delighted to be here. I'm very nervous, so if you see me stutter, if you hear me stutter, or if you see me shake, please just ignore and pardon me. Uh, Share my screen. I haven't used this before.
So there's a share screen just.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. It's off.
All right. Great. Okay. So please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, I can. Perfect.
Okay. So I have some notes I wrote down somewhere, and as soon as I put this on slideshow, everything is gone. So it's left to me and my head to figure out what to do now. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about content first product design, content first approach to product design. I'm going to try to make this as interactive as possible, and I'm going to be sharing a few stories and personal experiences of mine to further drive home the point. Uh, are we recording?
Yes, I am. I'm recording this.
Thank you. Okay, so my name is Nkemdilim. People call me NK for short. I'm a mom of two boys, Jason and Jeremy. Jason is 6 years old today. Today is his birthday. And Jeremy is 2.5 years old. I'm a UX writer at RBC Ventures. RBC Ventures is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada. I love to travel. I love to watch Netflix, and I love dreadlocks, right? Um, when I'm not doing UX writing or watching Netflix, I'm busy yelling at my children because, I mean, I'm yelling at my children and threatening that I'll send them back to Nigeria because I didn't kill my mother. Cannot allow another person come and kill me. So this is me at RBC Ventures. This is me and my lovely family, and this is me here in Toronto. Can you see my cursor? Yes, you can. I want to believe that you can. This is me in Toronto. Like I said, I love to travel. Okay, let's start. Content design is defined by Rachel Blakely as a way of thinking about how to design content in a way that best serves the end user. It focuses on usability and accessibility while considering the user journey. Content design is about bringing your content together, planning it, and asking questions like how are we going to best bring this design together and help our users, guide our users through using our products and helping them to complete their tasks with ease. So content design or UX writing is not just about writing copy. It's about asking questions. It's about planning. It's about designing the content. Content is not just about text. It could be video. It could be tables, it could be charts, it could be pictures, it could be graphics, anything that will help your users and guide them through using your product very easily. That is what content design is basically about. And throughout the life cycle of a product or product design, content design has to be considered, or your users will not have the best experience, and that could cause a lot of things. If your users are not meeting their own goals, or if you're not meeting your users goals, you're not also meeting your business goals, then there's trouble, right? So I have a few stories. Some of them are personal experiences of mine, few stories of when content design was not applied to product design and the effects or the impacts that this had. Sorry, excuse me. Um, okay, so I was at a design workshop with my team, and we had something that we wanted to project to the big screen. We had a meeting and we wanted to project something on the big screen. And then this was what we saw on the screen. Like I said, I'm going to make this quite interactive. So I'm going to be asking you guys to tell me um, what you will do or what this screen is telling you. This copy says, it looks like you have not connected your device to this TV. Press start below to connect now. So I would like to throw this open to the house. I cannot see myself. I cannot see anybody. Yes. Um, wow. Okay, let me leave it like this. So my question now is, if you saw this, I want anybody to answer. If you saw this, what would have come to your mind, or what comes to your mind as you're seeing this? What's the instruction that you're seeing, and what task do you think that you need to carry out by this copy that you're seeing? Somebody? Anybody?
I'll be checking the chat section. Whenever I see any response, I'll let you know. I'll read it out to you.
I can't see. I can just see my screen.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I think I would want to go first. So for me,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm supposed to connect, and then it says start. So next thing I do is just click on start, and then hopefully expect that the next screen that comes up would show me how I'm to connect.
Okay. So you said you are going to click start. Where are you going to click start?
The button.
Okay. Does anybody else want to give it a try? Anybody? Or should I just go on?
So Nimi says connecting to the TV by clicking start.
By clicking start. So are you clicking the TV? Are you pressing the button on the TV?
Okay, so now this was on the TV, right?
Yes, it was on the TV.
Normal design. I was okay. Nimi also says, "Oh wait, that's a TV." Normal,
Yes, it's a TV.
normal design. Me, I thought it's a screen. It's a
No,
mobile.
it's
I
a
mean, a
TV.
website screen.
No,
Oh,
it's a
man.
TV.
I'm lost. I don't know what to do.
Exactly. Now, your users are never supposed to say those words. Your users are not. You're not supposed to give your users the opportunity to say, "I'm lost. I don't know what to do," or "I don't understand what this screen is saying." Now, what came to our minds. In fact, I was the one who went forward to the TV, and then I was pressing start. I kept pressing start, and I was like, it's not starting, it's not connecting. What's going on? And everybody was laughing. And I was like, I thought it was touch screen because the copy said press start below to connect now. But then we realized that the start button was actually on the remote control. That was a very bad user experience, right? And the impact that this had was that we were frustrated as a team because we had something very important to do. We had to do it in about 1 hour, and we had spent the first 10 to 15 minutes trying to figure out how to get the TV to work. We wasted our time and effort, and for that split, no, not split, for a few minutes, we were unproductive. I have another story. I visited Toronto 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I booked my flight and made reservations for my hotel 3 weeks, 3 good weeks before I traveled. My flight was delayed and I got to Toronto at midnight. I got to the hotel somewhere around past 12 a.m. And I walked up to the front desk and I said, I would like to go into my room now. I'd like to check into my room now. And they're like, what is your name? I say, my name is Nkemdilim Odili. Sorry, we don't have your reservation. Eh? You don't have my reservation at 12 a.m. How do you not have my reservation? He says the reservation was canceled. The booking was canceled. And I'm like, I didn't cancel the booking. So why is it canceled? We don't know. How can you not know? I paid. No, I didn't pay. So what happened was that I used a third party booking agency and I booked my flights. I used that agency to book my flights and I used it to book my hotel. And I was asked to put in my card details. That was all I was told. So I put in my debit card details because I didn't want to spend from my credit card. I don't like to use my credit card. It's important to use it, but I don't like to use it. But for this particular trip, I didn't want to use my debit card, my credit card. So I decided to use my debit card. So we went on and on, back and forth. No, I didn't cancel. They said, no, it's canceled. You didn't pay. And there was money in my account. So I called the third party agency and I was like, what happened? These people are saying that my reservation is canceled. Did I do something wrong? Did anything happen? And then we went back and forth, and then they said my card was declined. Why was my card declined? They said because I didn't put in my credit card details, but I put in my debit card details. And I'm like, how? How does this happen? Why did you guys not ask me to put in my credit card details? And then they went on and said, oh, they didn't have to tell me to put in my credit card details. Everybody in Canada knows that when you are booking a flight or a hotel, you're supposed to put in your credit card details. And I'm like, excuse me, I am not Canadian. I am a new immigrant. How am I supposed to know that I'm supposed to put in my credit card details? If you wanted me to put in my credit card details, it was very simple. On your website, you should have put in your card details in bracket, credit card only. Very simple. So content was not considered before that website was designed. And the impact that this had was that I was almost stranded. There's one other impact that I didn't put here. I lost money. That hotel, when I booked it, it was $152 for a night. But that night, because the front desk guy, I think he was even the manager, he saw that I was really desperate. He said, okay, we can give you a room, 299, 299 plus tax. And I was like, two what? That's $300. That's like times two of what I was initially supposed to pay. And it's not really their fault. It's because the website didn't allow me pay. The website doesn't actually allow you pay. You just book, and then when you get to the hotel, you pay. Right. So I was utterly dissatisfied. I haven't left a horrible review yet, but I'm going to leave a very horrible and nasty review on their website. That's on the third party website, even on the hotel's website. And I'm going to patronize another third party agent. I'm never going to use those people again. And another impact that this can have is that when I leave my reviews, other people are going to go and read those reviews and they're going to decide, oh, I'm not going to patronize this third party agent. So, not considering content in the product design phase can have a lot of crazy effects, right? Now, these are my own experiences, but there have been far worse cases. I am going to touch on two of them. The first one is the Hawaii nuclear missile. So in 2018 in Hawaii, um, residents of Hawaii and tourists woke up one morning to this message. It says, emergency alert, ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek shelter immediately. This is not a drill. Now imagine you're in Hawaii on vacation, you're enjoying yourself, and then you receive this kind of message. You are going to panic. Everybody was running helter skelter. People were calling their families, people thought they were going to die, people were crying, it was crazy. Now, this is what happened. This is the website where whoever the operator is supposed to come and click. Let me touch this one. This is a tsunami warning. If there's going to be a tsunami, the operator would click this to give a tsunami warning and send a broadcast message to everybody to take cover or try to get to safety because there's a tsunami coming. This one is for a landslide, and this one is for the Amber Alert, which was clicked for the nuclear missile. Now, what actually happened was that it was actually a drill. It was supposed to be a test message. So the operator was supposed to click on this particular link to send out a test message to everybody and not a real Amber Alert. So they came back later and said, oh, it was a mistake. It was supposed to be a test message and all of that and all of that. But by then, a lot of things had already happened. Now, I got this from the UX Writing Hub. If content design was thought of before that website was designed or developed, all the alerts were supposed to be grouped. The drills and tests were supposed to be grouped. The real alerts, the Amber alerts, were supposed to be grouped. The tsunamis, the landslides, everything was supposed to be grouped. And the likelihood of the operator clicking on a real Amber alert instead of the test message would have been really reduced, right? Now, the impact that this had is that people panicked. A lot of people panicked, and parents, trying to save themselves and save their children, threw their kids into sewers, into drainages. Lots of people were traumatized. A man was reported to have had a heart attack, and I'm quite sure that a lot of other people had heart attacks just because of that simple error. Now, this one wasn't so bad. The next one is really bad. This is a case between Robinhood and Alex Kearns. This happened in 2020. Robinhood is a trading platform, and Alex Kearns was a 20-year-old college student who was trading with this platform. He invested about $16,000 on this platform, and then he woke up one morning and saw that he had minus $730,000 in his account. Those of us who do crypto and trading will understand what this is very, very, very well. So he thought that he was in debt. He was just a 20-year-old student, fresh in college, trying to survive. And then he has invested this money, and then he wakes up and he's seeing minus $730,000. And first thing that comes to your mind is, Mugbe, I'm dead. What is this? How do I have this amount of debt? So he tried to contact customer care. He tried to contact Robinhood to ask them what was going on. He tried to contact them 3 times, but nobody could give him an answer. Your users should not at any point in time ask, what is this? Your users should not at any point in time say, I don't understand what I am seeing. Your users should understand what your product is saying and should be able to complete their tasks with ease, with the easiest of eases. Forgive me, I don't know if that is correct, but just take it like that. So he tried contacting customer service. Nobody could give him a response. And the young man decided to write a letter to his friends and family, and then he committed suicide. The next morning, Robinhood sent him a mail. They said, great news. We're reaching out to confirm that you've met your margin call. We've lifted your trade restrictions. If you have any questions about your margin call, please feel free to reach out. We're happy to help. The trade was resolved, and we later discovered that Alex did not actually owe any money. But by this time, it was already too late. His life was lost. His family was thrown into mourning. There was bad publicity for Robinhood, and Robinhood was sued, and they had to pay $70 million, a $70 million fine, right? But even after paying the fine, the life was lost, and it's not going to, the money was not going to bring him back, right? So if content design had been thought of, if content design had been considered, this issue would most likely not have come up, and Alex would probably still be alive by now. Okay, so let's look at content first product design in depth. And first, I'm going to start by saying who a UX writer is not. A UX writer is not a copywriter. There's a difference between a copywriter and a UX writer. Sometimes these words are used interchangeably, UX writer and content designer. UX writer, they say that the UX writer focuses more on copy while the content designer focuses more on every other thing. I'm a UX writer. My role is UX writer, but I do every other thing that a content designer does. So we can interchange those words or the roles, right? So a copywriter is somebody who writes copy to persuade a user or a customer or a potential customer to buy a product or to sign up to a service. But that is not what a UX writer is. A UX writer is somebody who writes copy to help to guide the user through using the product and to complete their tasks, right? A UX writer is not a correction fluid. It's not Tipex. I know many of us use Tipex when we were in high school or in primary school. A UX writer is not that. A UX writer is not somebody that you say, I'm done with the design. NK, please, oh yeah, come and fix my punctuation, come and fix my grammar, come and fix my spellings. No, that is not who a UX writer is. A UX writer is not a lorem ipsum fixer. A UX writer is not somebody who goes to fix lorem ipsum after the UX designer is done designing. It's not somebody who you just call and say, oh yeah, I don't design finish, oh, come and write. That's not who a UX writer is. UX writer is somebody who is a part of the design team. A UX writer should have a seat at the table. They should be part of the design process from the very beginning. Um, in my company, we're still trying to, I'm the first UX writer, I'm the very first UX writer. So we're still trying to imbibe the culture of UX writing. But we have gotten to the stage where almost everybody has come to terms with the fact that there's a UX writer in this team now, and we have to include her in every single decision or every single meeting that we have right from the very start. Recently, there was a project that we had to do, and there was me, the UX writer, there was the product designer, there were people from customer success, that's customer service. There were people from the dev team, the development team. There were people from the product management team. And all of us sat down together and thought about, after research, after we had done user research, all of us thought about possible solutions that we could bring um, to bring up with, oh my God, what am I saying? We came up with possible solutions for the issues or the problems that our users were having, right? So we ideated, we drew, we wrote down things that we wanted to write, and at the end of it all, the product designer and I had our own special meeting where we looked at all the solutions that everybody brought and decided which solutions would work best for the product. And then we went ahead to say, these are the solutions that we have. How best can we lay down these solutions? What do we say to our users? What copy are we writing? Or are we going to have a video? Or is it a chart we are going to have? Are we going to have tables? Do we need to embed links? How do we make our users better understand what we're trying to say? And then when we had discussed what the copy was supposed to look like, we then decided, since we are going to have this so and so copy, since we are going to have XYZ copy, that means that we need to have this element so that the copy can fit into it. I'm going to give you an example very soon, real soon, right? So a UX writer or a content designer is somebody who asks lots of questions. What is the problem that we're trying to solve? And then who are the people that we're trying to solve this problem for? Where I work, we're designing an app for financial literacy for kids. So we're writing copy and designing the product for children and their parents, because these children are not the only ones who are using the app. The parents would also need to use the app. I don't want to go into so much details, but then it means that we have to design for parents and we have to design for children. We're not just designing for children, we're also designing for children of different age groups. Children from the ages of 6 to 18 use the app. The way I would write for a 6-year-old is very different from the way I would write for a 15-year-old. And it's very different from the way I would write for an 18-year-old. So I need to ask the question, who are the people that we're solving this problem for? What's their age range? What's their nationality, right? Are they are Canadians going to be using the app? Is it just Canadians are going to be using the app, or is it Canadians and US people who are going to be using the app? What languages do these people speak? Is English their major language, or do they have other languages? I believe that you guys know that in Canada, the two languages that are spoken here are English and French. So when I'm writing in English, I have to be sure that what I'm writing is simple enough for whoever is going to come and translate to French. And then when it's translated to French, the meaning is not lost, right? So we need to take all of that into consideration. We need to do conversation mining as UX writers and as content designers. What's conversation mining? It's the process of harvesting conversations of our users. What this means is that we go to different places where we would normally find our users online, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, depends on where your own users would normally be found. It's not compulsory that you find them everywhere. It's not compulsory that you go everywhere to look for them. There are specific places where they'll be. Um, so there will be Twitter, there will be Instagram, there will be Facebook, there will be Reddit, there will be Naira Land, uh, and many other places, many other social media sites online. What we're trying to do is sometimes it's called social listening. You're trying to listen to the way these people are conversing. You're trying to gather certain words or keywords that these people are using when they're discussing. And what this means is that when you're writing your copy, or let me use myself as an example, when I do my conversation mining and harvest all these words from the different places where my users are, I would take these words, and when I'm writing my copy, I would use those words to write my copy. Why am I doing this? Because when my users come to my product and use my product and they see those words, they are words that they're familiar with, and they're not confused when they're reading whatever is on my product or on my app. They are very familiar with my product, with the words that they're seeing on my product, and it's very easy for them to understand. We ask questions like, what's the tone and the voice that we're using? Are we formal? Are we informal? Are we funny? Are we serious? Are we straight to the point? We need to ask questions like, what's the gender of the people that we're writing for? Are they men? Are they women? We know that in this part of the world, in the Western part of the world, not every man is a man, not every woman is a woman, right? There are men who say that their pronouns are not he and him. There are women who say that the pronouns are not she and her. So when you're designing a form, for instance, and you ask, what is your gender? And you're asking your user to fill in their gender, and you just say male and female, and you leave it at that. That's not a very good user experience for your user, because what if your user is not male and is not female? There's the gender that's called two spirits. There's the gender that's called, I think there's the one that's called non-binary, right? What provision are you making for those people? That's where inclusion comes in. Are you including these people in your design? Recently, I had to write alt text for a particular photo. I like my alt text to be very descriptive. So the contents of this photo had different things in it, and among them were a beautiful lady's handbag and a bottle of lip gloss. So I had to ask myself, who am I writing this content for? Do I just go ahead and say a beautiful woman's handbag and a bottle of pink lip gloss? But then I realized, not it's not only women that carry handbags, and it's not only women that use lip gloss. Here in Calgary is notorious for the dry weather. The weather is very dry. Calgary weather is like our Hamatan in Nigeria raised to power 10, right? And you tend to see people with cracked lips because of the dry weather. So you will normally see people carrying lip gloss around, whether male or female, right? So me saying that this was a female's handbag or a female's lip gloss in my alt text was not going to cut it at all, because that means I was not including other people, right? So very simple. I just wrote blah, 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 beautiful handbag and a bottle of lip gloss. There, I had included everybody. It's a win-win for everybody. Another question that we ask is accessibility. There are definitely people who have visual impairments. There are people who have hearing impairments and other kinds of impairments. Our design and our solution, does it work for these people as well? Right? All of this and many more is what is now going to shape or inform what our user journey for our product is going to be like. It's going to tell us what screens we need to have. It's going to tell us what copy we need to have on each of those screens, and then that copy is now going to influence what the elements of the design on the interface is going to look like. That's how it should be done, right? Like I said here, this is part of what shapes the design for the solution to the user's pain points, and this is what determines if the users are going to have a great user experience. Okay, I'm going to give another example. This is going to be another interactive session. I've been talking. I want you guys to speak too. Okay, so first of all, this is a real life scenario, but I'm trying to protect the image of the company. So I decided to go to Figma and just recreate what I saw on the website. Right. So this is a confirmation page, a confirmation screen that is asking users to confirm their details. So the copy here says confirm your details and continue, and the button says okay. I need somebody to tell me what is wrong with this design.
Okay, so maybe while I wait for others to put up their responses in the chat, I would say, I mean, this is forcing me to confirm that it's okay. And
Okay.
then, yeah, so I mean, what if I want to make a change if something is not, I mean, correct? Maybe the date of birth. It says, I mean, the first statement says confirm your details and continue. I mean, that's
Yes.
just saying you have to continue. You're not
Yes.
going. And then there is also the button that says okay, no second button for back or maybe a navigation for back.
Exactly.
All
So
right. So there's a response. Sorry.
oh, okay.
So Nimi Oyekunle says there should be a button that takes the user back in case there are mistakes.
Yes. You're both very, very correct.
Also,
Very
sorry, Johnson says the button is supposed to say confirm.
okay. Yes, you're
Yeah,
all correct.
that's
Does anybody else have anything else to say?
no, I just got those two responses for now.
Okay. Okay. So let's move on. So you guys are very correct. Very, very correct. Like I said, this is real. It's real. It's very real. Like I saw this. And you guys have already given me a solution. So let's just go to the solution, right? So thinking about content design, you guys said, what if I want to go back and I want to edit my details? So that's content. And then we need to decide, oh, now that we have this content, how do we bring it to our users? We should allow them to edit their details. So there should be a button that says edit details, right? My name is not Jane Doe. My name is Nkemdilim Odili. I don't know how Jane Doe got there. I want to edit my details. Very simple. I click the button that says edit details. I edit my details. And then it says, please confirm your details below. Click continue. Everything is correct. I click continue and I go my way. Everybody's happy, right? So why is a content first approach to product design very important? Number one, it saves time and it saves effort. Okay, so where I work, I'm so sorry, I'm saying where I work. It's because I want to give you guys as real life experiences as possible. So where I work, we work in sprints, in 2 week sprints. But there's another way we work, and it's called increments. An increment is an 8 week period. So we come together as a team to plan our increments, and then we decide what we are going to be doing as a team, what tasks we're going to be working on, what features we're going to be working on for the 8 week period. And then we look at that 8 week period and then we break it into 2 week sprints each. So we have 4 sprints in an increment, right? So let's put that aside. I've explained what an increment is and a sprint. Now, I'm the first UX writer in my organization, and one of my responsibilities is to go back to the app and look at and audit the app, audit the content, audit the design, and look for where we have design debts, where there were things that were missed out before the product was shipped. Content always affects design. If there are issues with the content, there will most likely be an issue with the design. So I came up with some of these content or design debts and the solutions that I was proposing. And I went to meet my manager and I was like, here, I have them. What do we do? Then my manager was like, oh, this is very nice. Thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. But we don't have time for this in this sprint. And we don't have time for this in this increment. So we're supposed to redesign those screens that had the content debt and the design debts, but there was no time. Now, if a UX writer had been included from the beginning, it would have saved us this time and this effort. There are designers on the team, but these designers have many other things to do. You know, they don't have time to go back and fix those designs. The designs will be fixed eventually, but right now we don't have the time to fix those designs. So we have to move on and then we can come back later. But if content was thought about first, we would have saved time and effort. It also saves money. There was a time I contracted for a Nigerian company, and I had to do an audit of the product of the app, and we found a huge design debt. Like, it was a lot. Almost all the screens had to be redesigned. Just like in my company, there are product designers there, but these product designers have other things to do. So they can't go back and redesign the whole app because there are many other things that they had to do. So what was the solution? They had to outsource the redesign of the app to a design agency. And this design agency was charging them, in fact, this was the most affordable. This design agency was charging them $8,000 per week. If we multiply that by 600 naira, that's about 4.8 million naira per week. And the whole project was supposed to take about 7 to 8 weeks. That's about $48,000. If they had had a UX writer from the very beginning, or if they had included content right from the very beginning, if their content shaped their design, they wouldn't have spent up to half of what they were spending on the design agency on the UX writer, right? Disasters can be avoided, just like in the case of Alex Kern and Robin Hood. Frustrations will be reduced. I'm sure that you have used there are apps or websites, and from the very beginning, from the very first screen, we're like, what is this? You don't understand what is being said. You don't know how to navigate the app because you just don't understand anything. You don't understand the content. You don't understand the design. And people are not patient. Human beings are not patient. You're not the only one who is offering the service that you're offering to this user. You're not the only one who has this product that is solving this problem. So the first thing that they will do is to kiss your app goodbye, and they will move on to another app. And if they find out that this other app is better than yours, there's no going back. They're going to stick to that product, and they're going to give a very bad review. I know that Nigerians are very good at that. They will not just drop small and go. They will download everything for you. They will give it to you. What they say it, they will give it to you. Rush. I've seen, when I was working at my former company, there were times when I went to Play Store or to Twitter. You know how Twitter people can be. They are mean. The kind of reviews I was seeing, I almost cried. I was like, what is going on? And imagine if other people come and see those reviews, they would not want to patronize you. They would not want to use your app. They would not want to use your service. So they're off to the next bus stop, right? And if frustrations are reduced, user experiences will improve. Once user experience improves in your app, there's customer retention. People want to stay with your app. They want to continue using your app. They want to continue patronizing you because it's solving their problems, and they can use your app with ease. And what's more, these people are going to leave very good reviews, and they are going to recruit other people who are going to come and use your app, and those ones will go ahead and recruit others, and those ones will recruit, and it just becomes a chain reaction, right? So that's why a content first approach is very important in product design. These are just a few of the advantages of going the content first approach route, right? I'm going to close with this quote by Jeffrey Zeldman that says, content precedes design. Design in the absence of content is not design, it is decoration, right? I'll take questions now. Am I still here? Please, don't tell me I'm the only one here. Can anybody hear me? Are you serious? Okay, you guys can hear me. Okay, so yeah, I'll take questions now. First of all, did I make sense? Did you guys get anything from this session? Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Nimi. Thank you. Thank you, Johnson. How do I do a content style guide? How do I answer this? Okay, because I'm in the process of doing one myself. I think that the first step is to look at other content style guides of companies out there. Thankfully, I have a few open here. Let me see. Yes, one of the best ones is design, the content design style guide by Intuit. So I'm going to copy and paste the link here. I have another one here, monday.com. They have a very good content style guide too. Let me see, Microsoft. So you'll basically look at these content style guides, study them, and decide, sort of like learning from them, and then you decide how you want your own content style guide to look like, or to be like. I have another one from, oh yes, so I have a list of, let me see, I have a website that lists many. There's one from Google, Monzo, Slack, Shopify. So I'll just paste this one instead of pasting the links one after the other. I'll just paste this one. Yes, MailChimp, yes. So just study these ones and see if you can learn from them. Let me see, MailChimp. I don't know if MailChimp is listed here. I can't find it anymore. Oh yes, MailChimp is here. How about HubSpot? I don't know if HubSpot is here. Oh yes, HubSpot is here. So there's this website, the UX writing library, that has all of them. It has all of them. There's IBM, there's Adobe, there's Canada Post, there's Buffer, there's Shopify, there's Salesforce. Their content style guide, their voice and tone, everything is here. So you just basically go through them, and of course, you need to know who your audience is. That is also going to determine how your content style guide is going to be shaped. Are you writing for the younger generation? Are you writing for the older generation? I know there's a company I did a project for. It's an Alzheimer's foundation. And you know that people that have Alzheimer's are majorly old people. The way I would write for those people is very different for the way I would write for the kids I'm writing for right now at Maido. So you need to know who you're writing for before you can even think of your style guide. Who you're writing for has to influence your style guide. I don't know if I answered your question. very well.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, not very clearly, but yes.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, so Mafik Olamide says, I'm planning to start an e-commerce website. Okay, no, that's like a comment, not a question. Okay, so there's a question here says, how do content designers actually work with designers on projects? How does the collaboration happens?
So in my talk, I mentioned that UX writers are supposed to be part of the project from the very beginning. So in my company, I'm always involved from the very start, from when we are discussing about the project, even before the UX researcher goes out to do their own research, right? So I'm sitting at the table, well, virtually, I'm sitting at the table, I'm sitting with the designer, and not just me and the designer, because the product manager has to be there. The product manager is the one who even brings the idea and says, oh, this is the problem and we need to find a solution. What do we do? This is what the project is about, right? So there's the project managers, there's the designers, there's also customer success. We call them customer success. I think other people call them customer service. Yes. Customer success, what they do is they come to us and tell us these are the issues that people are having, these are the cases that are usually reported to us, what can we do about it? Then the product manager takes it up and then we all discuss it, right? So we work together, we brainstorm together, and then the designers and I, because I'm the only UX writer, we go ahead and start work. As we're designing, we're putting in content, we're deciding what exactly the content is supposed to look like and what the design is also supposed to look like. And then we still meet again with our stakeholders because we don't have the final say, so to speak. And then we talk about it, we argue back and forth. Like there's a lot of argument, but of course we do it maturely. And then we ship off to, oh, before that, we test a lot. It's very, very, very important to test your content, your copy, and to test your design. Because if it doesn't work well and you ship it, there's going to be a big problem. You might have losses, and you might lose customers. So it's very important to test your copy and it's very important to test your design. And if everything looks good, you hand off to the developers. And there are times when the developers are coding and they come back to us and we collaborate again and they say, oh no, what's that language that you guys, the designers, use? This padding is this one is that. Oh, NK, your copy. There was a time that my copy was not accessible. I've learned a lot. There was a time my copy was not accessible and the developer had to come back to me and we had to work together. The developer and I had to work together to make sure that the copy was accessible. So everybody has a role to play and everybody's supposed to work together to ensure that the user experience of the product is top notch. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, so one other. How do I create an effective empathy map? Start.
Ah, you should not be asking me that question. No. This question is too hard for me.
Look at this. I won't feel that is way off what we
So empathy maps is, I think most of the people who work on empathy maps in my team are actually the user researchers. We don't do empathy maps so much. I mean, the writers and why am I saying writers? I'm the only writer. The writer and the designers. We don't do empathy maps so much. It's majorly the user researcher. Um, so I would say that I've done a little bit of empathy mapping. You get your empathy, whatever you're going to be putting on your empathy map from whatever you get when you do your user research, how your user felt when you ask certain questions, what your user said, how your user felt, what your user thinks. Think, feel, know, and say. Am I right? Is there any designer in the house? That's what an empathy map is, right?
Yes, yes.
Think,
Think,
feel,
think,
know,
feel,
say.
say, do. Think, feel, say,
Oh,
do.
no, yes, not no, yes. I still got it. So it's mostly whoever is doing the research that is supposed to draw out the empathy map. So in the think section, you're putting in the think box, you're putting in what your user said, what your user thought while you were interviewing them, what exactly they said they do, think, feel, do, say, how they feel or how they felt about the user experience of maybe the app you were asking them about or of another app. So I think that's basically how you do an empathy map, and then you use that to go ahead and brainstorm. Designers in the house, did I try?
Yes, yes, you did.
Okay,
Okay, I don't know. Do you have time for two more questions?
I do.
Okay. Yeah. So, one says, have you encountered any challenges while making a voice chat?
Hmm. I've tried working on a voice chat that would be like a chatbot, right?
Um, let me, Lily, can you respond? That the chatbots? Well, it says yes. Yeah, it
Ah,
says yes.
so one of my favorite things, one of the things I love to do most in content design is writing for uh, voice chats or bots, chat bots. And unfortunately, very unfortunately, I was not given a chance. I started the project, but I couldn't finish because of issues with resources, right? But during the time I was writing for the chatbot, the only problem that I know I encountered was during the short period I wrote for the chatbot. The only problem I know I encountered was that I did not have enough research or enough data from research to work. Like research is everything. If you don't have enough research, if you don't have enough data from research, if you don't have insights from your research, there's going to be a huge problem because I mean, what are you then designing? What are you then writing for if you don't have insights or you don't have data? So that's the major problem that I know that I had. You know, I didn't have, nobody had done the research and I did not have the resources to do the research. And that's one of the reasons why we had to cut the project short because how am I going to work if I don't have access to data from research? So I think that's one of the biggest issues that can arise writing for a chatbot. Please
Okay.
let me know if I answered that question
Okay.
directly or if you want me to expatiate.
Okay, Lily, just let us know if it's done. Or Johnson says, got into a team. Can you please walk us through to design the content for the platform?
Ha! I said I don't want all these hazard questions. What's all this? Okay, so the first thing I would always hammer on this is research. The first thing that I do is research, even though the user research has been done. Oh, by the way, I partake in user research as well. There's a feature where we're trying to roll out for our users where I work currently, and we had to do user research. We had to interview children of different ages because most of the people that were writing or that were designing for are children. So the first thing that we had to do was research, and I was part of the research process. I didn't ask so many questions, but I was there in the background listening because why I had to be there, it was very important because I had to know what exactly these kids knew and what they didn't know and what problems they were having so that we could try to map out a solution. right? So I had to be there. After that research, I had to do my own research. And I would say one of the major things that I had to decide on was if we should call our users kids or if we should call them children. Some kids don't like being like right there during the user research. You could hear some children say, "Don't call me a kid." You could hear some say, "Don't call me a child." So if I don't call you a child and I don't call you a kid, what am I going to call you? You're not an adult. So I had to do a lot of research into why kids don't want to be called kids or why children don't want to be called children and which one is more appropriate, you know. So I had to do that research. I also had to do some conversation mining. There are times you just see me watching um YouTube kids. Ah, my god. Instead of me to be watching Netflix and be enjoying my life, I'm watching YouTube kids. I'm watching cartoons. I'm constantly having conversations with my 6 year old because I want to know how he thinks, because I want to know how he speaks, because I want to know the kind of words he's using when he's talking. Because when I'm writing, I'm not going to be using big words, I'm going to be using very easy words, words that are easy for these people to understand, for these children to understand. I have to make sure that when I'm not writing above a grade one level. Grade one, children in grade one are 6, 7 years old, and there are kids who are 6 years old that are using our app. Bad as the bad, I'm not writing I'm not writing above a grade three level. Grade three is kids who are 8 years old. So I'm constantly checking my copy against there's this calculator we use. It's called the Flesher Kincaid. Is it Flesher Kincaid or Kincaid Flesher? Let me write it here, or let me just get the link. Uh, Sorry, please give me 1 minute. Kincaid, Flesher Kincaid calculator. Whew, I should have gotten this. Oh, not Flesher, it's Flesh. Now for me. Let me copy this link and paste it here. So most times I'm using the Flesh Kincaid calculator to be sure that I'm not going above a certain grade level, so that the words I'm using. So all I do is I just take the words and impute them into the calculator, and it tells me if this is a grade 8 reading is, if it's grade 12, if it's postgraduate. Of course, I know that when I put in my copy and I'm seeing grade 8, grade 12 is a lie. I have to go back and rewrite that copy. I have to look for simpler words. So I do that. I also use the Hemingway app. I'm so sorry, guys. I should have thought about this and brought out all these links before today. The Hemingway app also tells me if I'm writing above a certain grade level. I'm going to put it in the chat. Yeah, Hemingway app, right? And then after all the information I've gathered, of course, I'm also doing conversation mining. And there's this one I don't want to do, reading storybooks, children's books, but there's no, I don't have an option. I have to read it because I have to get into the mind of my users. I have to get into the head of my users. I have to know how they speak, how they interact, the words that they use, so that my app, when I'm writing for them or when I'm designing for them, my app is very easy for them to use, right? After doing all of that, of course, we have our voice and tone. That one is already settled. How we want to speak to the children. We want to be friendly with them. We want to be informal with them. We don't want to be formal. We want to be informal. We want to be playful. We don't want to be too serious with them because they're children, right? We got that settled. We take all of that and then we map out the content. map out the content. Content informs design. Of course, it's not every time that we map out the content first, but most of the time we map out the content first, and then we map out the design. We design, and then very importantly, before we ship to the devs, we have to test our design and our copy. There is no way we can ship our content, we can ship our design. I'm so sorry. There's no way we can ship our design without first testing, right? We test and we see that everything is okay. We ship to the devs, and then we still do a lot of there's still a lot of iterations that go on. The dev comes back and says, you need to fix this, you need to fix this, this is not okay, this is not okay, that is not okay. Accessibility, inclusion, we go back, we do everything again. Not everything, but we fix the issues that need to be fixed before we finally ship. So that's how that's the process. That's my UX writing process, and that's the process I go through writing content for my users. Did I leave out anything? I don't think I did. Oh, there's one more thing. So as a content designer or as a UX writer in my company, I have edit rights. I have edit access on our Figma boards. I don't just take my copy and put them on Figma. I use my Google Docs. We call it copy docs. I use my Google Docs and I just pour out everything in my head. I write and write and write, and then I edit. There's no way I'm going to go and do that on Figma, write, edit. Before you know what is happening, I've cooked beans for my designer, and the designer will now, I've scattered it. It has happened before. I've scattered all the design. And then my designer comes back and like, okay, what did you do? I gave you edit access. That says you scatter everything, you know. So what I do is I go to Google Docs, write my copy, and write out all the different versions that I want to have. And I title them, this is version 1, this is version 2, this is version 3, and then I start to edit. So there's a lot of writing and editing and writing and editing and writing and editing that goes on before I bring the final copy and then put it on Figma. So that's another point that I wanted to mention. Right. Please let me know if I answered the question well.
You asked me, I'll say you answered it. I'll just wait for whoever asked to give the response. Yes,
The
so
ASCII. Who was
yes,
the
yes.
ASCII?
Aski was Johnson. So Johnson, was it answered? Okay, so thank you so much for your time and
Thank
sharing
you
the
for
experience
having
with us.
me.
There is one question, but does not require much of an explanation, just for you to give like maybe a list of options. So it says, that's Mafik Olamide. It says, if I may ask, which e-commerce website can you recommend that has great customer experience?
Hmm. No one.
That's what I was going to say as well.
No one. Is it Amazon? Is a lie. Is it Jumia? Is a lie. Is it Konga? A lie. There is no one. I'm very sorry to say. I am very, very sorry to say. There's none. There's none.
So maybe Mafiko Lamide will just, build the next one that would have a great customer experience.
Nimi said Oraimo has put me in tears. There's none. There's none. There's none. Oh, I should be looking here. Right.
So thank you so much. I really enjoyed the session right from the start,
Thank you
and
so
I'm
much for
sure
having
everybody could agree with the same as well. Thank you for sharing your experience. Putting
me.
in from your workplace even made it more. We could relate to that, and yeah. So that's thank you. So Mimi says thank you.
Thank
Uh,
you, Nimi.
and I've already dropped your Twitter, and also everybody just gives a follow.
Yeah.
The session was recorded and to be
Okay.
uploaded to our YouTube channel, and I'll be sharing
Sure.
with everyone's email. So say it tomorrow. They're about
Thank you,
everyone.
guys. Good night.
Thank you.
It's afternoon
Yeah,
here.
good afternoon. Yeah, good night. So everyone, thanks for joining.
See you
Enjoy
all
the
in
rest
Canada
of the day.
soon. See you guys in
Yeah,
Canada soon.
yeah. See you. Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.